Recent years have seen fast-paced and dynamic security issues, beginning with the Russia-Ukraine war and the proxy war between Israel and Iran. Both wars have proven to be mind-numbingly lethal and long, taking a heavy toll on the populations and the militaries involved. These two geopolitical bloodfests cannot be ignored by India, and in fact must be a subject of intense study and rumination to ensure that in any scenario of conflict, India remains on the winning side. This is Shubhangi Sharma for CNN News 18. Let's dive in. India is facing a plethora of security challenges, some old and some new, that will be in focus in 2025. The first challenge is China. According to Kartik Bommakanti, a senior fellow at the Observer Research Foundation who spoke to News 18, confrontation between China and the US is likely to continue. And while India and China may achieve some degree of stability, India must remain vigilant as Pakistan could escalate pressure along various fronts. But this is not it. There's also heightened spates of violence in Jammu and Kashmir, which remain a sticking point. And if this was not enough, Bommakanti cites how internal developments in Bangladesh and New Delhi's deteriorating ties with Dhaka have also become a critical challenge that India needs to monitor and address proactively. Moreover, there's also the civil war in Myanmar that ties to the challenges faced in Manipur. These issues have thrown up an endless number of concerns and challenges that must be addressed. This means enhancing military capabilities on all counts: firepower, strategy, technology, and intelligence. War and conflict do not wait for anyone or anything, which is why military preparedness cannot be overlooked even in peacetime. This is where lessons from the battlefields come into play. Today, Israel and Russia are dominating their adversaries through various military advantages. Let's start with Israel. Bommakanti explains the importance of patience in striking your enemy in order to make the strike as effective as possible. Let me quote. Israel failed to detect any indicators of Hamas carrying the scale of the attack it mounted on October 7, 2023. Hezbollah too mounted a parallel campaign against Israel, but at a lower level of intensity. Yet Tel Aviv responded with greater intensity and ferocity against Hamas, but ensured its own response to Hezbollah along its northern borders was measured and calibrated until it significantly degraded Hamas's fighting capabilities. Then, the IDF ramped up pressure on Hezbollah, eliminating 3 to 4 tiers of Hezbollah's leadership and significantly degrading missile capabilities from late August to September in 2024. Therein lies the lesson for India. Arguably the most jaw-dropping operation in 2024 was the pager attack on Hezbollah. In September last year, Hezbollah was in the middle of a heated missile exchange with Israel when thousands of pagers owned by the Hezbollah members exploded all at once. These devices were used by Hezbollah to communicate with its members. Later, hundreds of walkie-talkies owned by Hezbollah fighters also exploded. Several died and thousands were left injured and maimed. Imagine the shock and the devastation. 10 days later, Israel eliminated Hassan Nasrallah, the chief of Hezbollah, in an airstrike, and the device may have helped it track the leader in the first place. So the entire top tier of Hezbollah had been erased. But how did this happen? As it turns out, the company that sold these devices to Hezbollah was started by Israeli intelligence. For almost a decade, Israel had been supplying these devices for surveillance purposes, but decided in 2023 to plant explosives, and Hezbollah had no clue. That's the level of deception that wins you wars, and there's a lesson in this for India. Being on the wrong end of such an operation could be disastrous. Since the October 7th attack, Israel has demonstrated renewed strength, asserting its superiority over Iran and its proxies. The Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, are inflicting significant losses on Hamas through a combination of firepower and attrition. Hezbollah's leadership has been severely disrupted. While these military campaigns have not achieved outright victory for Israel, they have solidified its dominance to levels not witnessed in years. Now, things get a little bit more complex in the battlegrounds of Ukraine. Since 2022, the trajectory of the Russia-Ukraine war has varied, and both sides have adapted multiple times over to various twists and turns that have emerged. Bommakanti writes that Russians have learned not to expose their C3, which is their command, control and communications systems. They've also shrouded their logistics nodes and supply systems by hardening and dispersing them. Russia has the edge, but it has not been an easy walkover for Putin. Moscow's war machine has been working overtime to keep up, while Ukraine has received billions of dollars worth of firepower from the West. Ukraine has put up a tough fight despite initial perceptions that it would fold. This, though, has come at a massive cost. Numbers and the strength of capabilities will shape the course of the war, as seen in Russia's steady advances against Ukraine. Meanwhile, Ukraine continues to defend its territory fiercely and maintain gains in Russia's Kursk region, where the Russians have intensified their assault. Numerous lessons emerge from this battlefield, including the importance of rapid adaptation, resolute political and military leadership, skillful navigation of international politics, and the development of dynamic military capabilities that prioritize not just numerical strength, but also innovation in modern warfare. As Bommakanti states, in international politics and interstate relations, tensions can change faster than the accumulation capabilities. Capabilities take a long time to mature and gestate from the moment of conception, design, development, and production. It is for this reason that there are no compromises when it comes to military strength and capabilities. It's a cold, hard reality that India must never forget.